Our next presenter is Deogratias Fikiri, presenting a synodal dance, Decolonial Hermeneutics of Sacred Dance and Spirituality in African Spirituality. Welcome, Fikiri.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. There is a saying in my mother tongue that goes, "Wa kaleka esasagalaga ngaba kuluvali bagira." It means literally that in sacred space, sacred moment, we are allowed to stop time and let until the ancestor give their blessing. That's will come with time, but I want to start with a joke as we stop the time. I'll tell you when to start counting. It's a joke told by a Jesuit of a guy who was invited in Rome to give a conference, and it was his first time in Rome ever. So in the middle, he got lost, and he started running from one room to another, trying to find his way out, until he found himself in a place with the Pope, where the Pope receives a visitor. He just opens and sees, oh, the Pope is here and the visitor. So he was stunned. He said, "I'm very sorry, Your Holiness. I'm really very sorry. I don't know how I ended up here." The Pope looked at him and said, "Don't be sorry. You are not alone. I don't know neither how I ended up here." So I don't know how I ended up here. I'm not a theologian, but thank you for inviting me. I've been learning many things from you. So the title, now you can start counting. The title of this paper is a Synodal Dance, Decolonial Hermeneutics of Sacred Dance and Spirituality. Synodal dance, why? There is a part at the end that we shall explore. If my reading of the time is like yours, we have enough time to explore that part. But I'm using synodality as a metaphor in this context. As you know, dance does not exclude anyone. And there is no right way of dancing and bad way of dancing. Everybody is allowed to come in, participate. No matter how you move your body, it is accepted and it is valid. So this is the point I want to explore briefly, really, as time allows. I want to speak about dance and liturgy, history of African dance, spirituality, cosmology, some kind of epistemology, but also hermeneutic, theology of dance, as a mysticism and contemplative. And then I will speak about synodal opportunity, if you allow me, if the time allows me. So how did I come back to this subject? This is really my positionality and my own journey of decoloniality. So that's what I call theology from the people. I was trained in a very Gregorian Roman Jesuit priest who, after theology, they told me, "You are at the altar, make sure you keep your hands closed and open. Don't do anything else." And then I was sent, after my ordination, I was sent to my parish priest, my parish, to work there. And people were dancing during liturgy, and I had my hand closed, as I was taught. And as you can understand, I was telling people the theology I learned, but they were not understanding. Those who have read the novel of Chinua Achebe, No Longer at Ease, can understand what really that means. So one day, something happened that my family, my niece, having a function, and then before we start the ceremony, all the family members have to dance. And the family knows I'm a very good dancer. So they invited me, and I have to dance with the family. And then a Christian afterward came to me and said, so, Father, you know to dance. Why don't you dance with us at Mass? I didn't have an answer for that. And that's when I started really exploring this sacred dance in a liturgy, what it is really and what can it teach us. Is it entertainment or not? To start with, my main argument is that in African culture, spirituality, and tradition, dance is not simply an art form. It is a theology in motion, a kinetic hermeneutic by which human beings enter into dialogue with the divine. It is a sacred time of both individual and communal invocation, both surrounding and bringing their wholeness to the sacred place and sacred being. And this model really challenges the Western theological paradigms that often prioritize intellectual abstraction over experiential knowing. In African context, dance is an epistemological practice because it reveals somehow the divine truth. It is also ontological. It shapes human identity. As you go through culture, as you go through people, you'll see different dances portraying different events, different ways of being. And crucially, it is also eschatological because it offers a glimpse of a rewarded world in which sacred is mixed with mundane. As Magesa said, what is not sacred. So here, the dancer in a liturgical setting is not simply a performer, but a liturgical theologian conducting sacred liturgy through bodily experience. And I'm going to show you this really brief video and then explain. I have many videos, by the way, and at the end.
Do we join?
Yes, can join.
They don't want to join me.
The bishop himself dancing. So you are not allowed to take a nap. It's okay. So as you can see, this is the bishop dancing with his people. And what is the song saying is that I'm not worthy to go to the altar alone, but hold me in my hand. And I'm still doubting. So that's why he's going forward and backward and then holding the hand of people. And this is at the beginning of the liturgy, kind of what we call the song of entrance. I find it to be really very theological, whether you agree or not, from someone who didn't do theology at all. So the history of African dance, really, the history goes back way. If you are aware of, if you know the African religions, all the ritual, in most of the African culture, I'm not kind of generalizing, you will see that all the ritual always start with a dance, whether it is invocation of the ancestor of the divine, whether it is forgiveness, there is always the motion of the dance in one way or another. So dance is an integral part of African traditional religion, where it has been used to learn about the divine. Dance appears to be the first form of the church and the first liturgy that was created by the divine. So African spirituality, I like this quote from Holness, who articulates that African spirituality does not dichotomize body and spirit, but view the human being as embodied spirit and inspired body, so that the whole person, body and spirit, is involved in the worship. In African spirituality, the embodiment of dance is the locus of divine revelation, memory and identity, and even transformation. In African cosmology, the body is not merely a vessel for the soul, but an essential, animated expression of the spirit. This fundamentally constructs with Cartesian dualism of Western philosophy. And as Holmes articulate, African spirituality does not dichotomize body and spirit. And that the dance functions not as a cultural expression, but as a sacred hermeneutic, a method of interpreting, but also of engaging with the divine, engaging with the self, the cosmos, but also with the ancestor. So going back to my positionality, when I finally decided to be dancing in the Mass, people became open to me. So after Mass, they would say, Father, I was moved by this, by that, because they felt a kind of, I was part of their congregation. I could easily understand them. And what really touched me in somehow is most of the time when they tell you what touched you during a Mass, some of them will not say that readings, the homily, some of them will say that song, that dance. So there is kind of divine encounter through the dance that we have really kind of forgotten. I know I'm speaking to scholars, so I'm not speaking really about epistemology, you know what it means, but I just like this quote from Nkulu Senga. African epistemology comprises 4 principal ways of knowing, organized into 3 overreaching categories: the material, the natural, and the sensual. So you will see it in the paper. So what is do I understand by hermeneutic of dance and spirituality? To understand African spirituality without its dance tradition is to misunderstand its deepest truth. Dance is not ancillary to African religion life. It is central to its hermeneutics and understanding, to its ontology and its encounter with God. It is through the dance that African community encounter the divine, remember the ancestors, express their theological and cultural identity. So dance ritual, such as the Senegalese Ngeupa of North African, function as text in motion, the text in motion, transmitting wisdom through rhythmic patterns, special relationship, and collective memory. The rhythmical pattern, circular formation, symbolic gesture, is found in the dance, and it transmitted like a theological text. So what do I understand by theology of dance? I'm really giving some glimpse for facilitate our discussion. I'm not giving everything that I have in the paper. hoping that you'll find it worthy to be included. So, theology of dance. Again, I like this quote from Holmes that is Africans have long embraced music and dance, not merely as forms of entertainment, of cultural tradition, but as deepest sacred expression of the divine, embodied language through which cosmic order and spiritual realities are mediated. In African spiritual tradition, dance is a theology, as I've said, a kinetic hermeneutic by which human beings enter into dialogue with the divine. There is no drugs, no observer. Everyone is carried by the Spirit. So this is called betrayal. I think we didn't understand the time together the same way. I'm just starting my paper here. So in one way or another, kenosis in a theological sense, because dance involved emptying oneself to let the divine come to you. If you come, for example, I've seen many people, you come with your degree in theology, you find it heavy to dance because you're not able to empty yourself, to enter into people believe, people understanding. But also, it is really kenosis, theosis, an emptying of the self that makes room for the divine indwelling and becoming like God through a shared movement. The dance floor becomes the sanctuary. The drum beat becomes the homily. The movement becomes the word. To overlook the dance in theological reflections, to me, is one of the most ancient and enduring way in which community have thought, known, and worshipped God. I have one video here from the Congolese rite of Mass. So this is the Gloria, how people dance the Gloria.
Take the next step.
Yeah, it is part of the deal. So don't worry. One minute. So if you look at this video, you'll see priests are not dancing. They're just with their hands here, but everybody is dancing. Yeah, they are theologians actually. So you see the joy of people, how they are carried with the movement, with the emotion, with that internal spirit. So we'll stop here, but if you give me extra time, we can come back to the video. So, no, I have not yet finished yet. So as Holmes argues, Africans have long embraced music and dance not merely as a form of entertainment, but as a divine encounter. Ultimately, the African religious dance is somehow a mystery, a sacrament of the movement that unites body and spirit, along with the cosmos and divine. It calls forth both intention and destiny, waving into the sacred rhythm of life. It is here, in this dance, between the visible and the invisible, that theology meets the reality of people. The mystical core of African dance lies in its capacity to induce spirit possession. You all know what they call in the African traditional dance the stance, where someone is possessed by the spirit. And again, this is not performance. This is really theological and divine expression of knowing the sacred. So in Senegalese, Deup, for example, dancers enter trance through what they call hyperventilation, a rapid footwork, a drum-induced frequencies, creating a liminal space of spiritual negotiation. In each dance, there is a revelation of sacred ontology and sacred spirituality that we all maybe need to know and understand as we go along with people. So Magesa argues that African spirituality rejects the boundaries between sacred and secular. Someone have said it. So dance is both worship and worldly body expression. An enemy and a friend may be brought together in a reconciliation because of dance. People who never embraced each other may embrace one another because of dance. How beautiful that theology is found in the dance. So as I said at the beginning, I didn't speak deeply on the synodal part, but again, I'm using synodality as a method dance that brings people together without any differentiation and distinction, without any kind of background, but everyone is allowed to come with his own body movement, his own dance, and be accepted in the assembly. So as I conclude, I suggest two things with the agreement of the moderator. So we can move to question or suggestion. If I don't have the response, the one who invited me will have a response. The one among you knows what it means. Or if you want, we can move to the dance and forget about the question and answers. So what do you choose?
We shall dance after this to reconcile.
So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate what you have presented, and I think after listening to you, my fears have been confirmed. You are in the wrong place in the education department. Thank you very much. So my question is this. It seems you are saying that following what Magesa says, everything, all what is not sacred. So do you mean that all kinds of dances are sacred? Or there is a criteria of choosing which kind of dance fits into the liturgy? Because my understanding is the way we dance, or the way people dance, let me say, not the same way the way we dance, the way people dance maybe in the club is not the same way people dance in the church. So what do you say about that?
Thank you very much. So one that reminds me of an experience. So we use it to local songs in my parish, and the local songs from the people were always full of God, spirituality. But my parish priest forbid it because it didn't sound like Gregorian, and he wanted the Gregorian rhythm chanting, way of chanting. So yeah, I totally understand, I totally agree. There is some kind of boundary because within the song, the aim of the song, the liturgical song, is to bring people to the divine. And the secular song is not always they do to bring people to the divine. So there is kind of some boundary to do there, some kind of distinction to make there. But definitely all those songs that portray God, that reveal the spirituality, that reveals the people understanding of God should not be excluded, like my former parish priest. Thank you. If you don't agree with me, we can continue over a beer.
Yeah, okay, thank you. My name is Cyril, University of Dayton. Thank you for your presentation. Oscar's point noted, and I'm building on that. Plato said music can produce a soporific effect on people. What you call divine sometimes is a soporific effect. So somebody says, oh, that touched me. It's a soporific effect. So where are you drawing the line? So let me just use this, this analog. One of my professors in the seminary, very funny man, but he had a point. He used to say that anytime that he teaches ethics, anytime he teaches a class and he talks about sex, that is always the best class for the students. It's the same thing for the students who come to him and say, this is the best class we've had. It's the same thing with music. Sometimes that soporific effect is not necessarily divine, but you are making it sound like it's divine. So that's just the point I want to make.
Yeah, I think Obanaya wants to respond to that, but I can respond. So what I've just said, in fact, is there is also a very gap in the way we interpret songs and dance in African context. Most of the time, the way we have been interpreting songs, they are European way of seeing dance. So some of the dance, for example, in my culture, were banned or cannot be portrayed in a sacred space because simply people shake their, how do you call it?
Backside.
Yeah, backside. So for people, Europeans kind of, this is more sexual. No, actually, that's not sexual. That's something interpreting in the cultural effect. But as I said, this is my decolonial journey myself. So, and I think every one of us need to be into that decolonial journey. And I'm not, yes, I'm a man in progress.
And he should not be putting Plato in there.
Exactly, that's what I'm... Yes, Professor Effect.
Yeah, my question is, first, from the Ge'ez tradition, there is the sacred dance, which is not danced in any space except in the liturgical environment. In the African ritual traditions, is there a difference between what you dance in the shrines versus in what you dance in a party?
Sorry, can you repeat the question? I'm sorry, I was disrupted.
No, I promised that in the Israelite, sacred dance is separate from the dance that you do it in a party or in a wedding. Mm. In the African traditional religion practices, what you dance in the shrines or place of worship is different than you dance at the wedding. Mm-hmm.
Yes, totally. I take it as a contribution. It's different, but again, it depends on the culture. If you are in Kenya, for example, where I did my theology, you will be taking a beer. The music is really very alive, and by the time you realize this, you'll be dancing the Gloria in a bar. You will be really dancing a Gloria in the bar without knowing. Again, I totally understand. I agree with you. But if you look even on the Israelite way of doing, one example I always take is the Psalms. Some of the Psalms, the way they are said, the way they are sung, right? One I like is kind of God take the heads of the child of Israel and crush it on the stone. They sing it, okay? This is spiritual. This is religious. And you see there is also not really a very great differences between all of these two people. And this is, after that we say, this is the word of God. And we accept, amen. Yes, please.
Yeah, thank you very much. Two quick comments.
Yes.
I love the question about what you dance in the liturgy and what you don't dance. Mm. First of all, in African cultural world, you are initiated into the dance. Mm-hmm. So, first of all, the whole world is sacred. You may not be dancing that particular dance in a particular sacred space, but that dance is still sacred in the bedroom with your partner because that space is still sacred. It's still producing life. So I want to make sure that we don't truncate the sacred space. Yeah. That said, the second point I want to make quickly, in the African context of dance, I think, in fact, in the synodal approach to dance, there is the instantiation of koinonia, not only, because I noticed you were talking only in the bringing my dance into the communal space. No, each person embodies the koinonia in the movements. So the synodality is expressed in the different movements that my body is performing in that dance. So I am, you see this also in disability studies. So I am dancing, not just my dance, I'm dancing the dance of the other as well.
Yes, exactly. Thank you very much.
Yes.
I take that. So can we move now to the dancing part?
No, now I'm the next speaker, so thank you so much.
Thank you. So take care.
Thank you very much, Fikiri. I would be surprised if you do not know how to dance from Congo. Yeah, I think it's been wonderful here.